Okay, good morning everyone, and thank you for joining us for our group presentation. We've had some great discussions leading up to our Adelaide and Kangaroo Island tour. I would like to share our findings with you all on the topic of creating a future for the next generation of sheep producers. So we'd like to start off by introducing ourselves.
Hey, I'm Kyle Hurley. I'm from the US. We raise polypace sheep and run about 1,000 ewes.
Matt Francisco from Ontario, Canada. We run about 450 commercial ewes on a modified accelerated lambing program.
And my name is Brittany Bolt, and alongside my younger brother Lloyd, we are fifth generation working on a family farm. I work full time as a sheep research scientist for Deep Herd, and my brother also works primarily off farm, and we work together with our parents to manage our stud pole Vorsets, our commercial merinos, and prime lambs. Taking a quick look at the stats across our countries, the commonality is that we have an ageing demographic of farmers across the US, Canada, and Australia, and the total number of producers are declining. As a group, we investigated further to find out what initiatives our countries have in place and what we believe needs further development to encourage and support the next generation entering the sheep industry to ensure a productive, profitable, and sustainable future in sheep production. We believe that these age statistics of farmers aren't an accurate representation of young people in the sheep industry. It is hard to measure and find online the information about younger producers that are working under parents and working off farm for a primary income. This is still a useful snapshot of the age of managers of sheep and farming enterprises. The USDA had more detailed reporting and study into young producers. In 2022, the United States had just under 300,000 young producers, which accounts for 9% of the country's total producers, 80% of which also worked off farm, and only 36% of the young producers listed farming as their primary occupation. But how do we know how many young people are pursuing a career in sheep production? We can only really draw on our own anecdotal experiences and our networks to reassuringly see that there are a lot of people out there that are actively pursuing long-term careers in the sheep industry. But many are working in different roles in the supply chain with aspirations of one day owning and managing their own sheep enterprises. Let's take it back to a school-age career talk where teachers ask you to Google your dream job. Okay, Google, how to become a sheep farmer. In Australia, our top 2 search results are government career websites. And as you can see, the language used on these sites are negative and shares very limited, poorly informed material. The pages provide very vague information with no real career pathway direction. The next 2 searches are blogs from American sheep producers, great for America, but not so great for Australia. Where is our representation online? NSA and AHDB are lucky to feature on the second page of the Google search. 2 Department of Ag sites on page 3, an animal activist page on page 4, Beef and Lamb New Zealand and Australian Wool Innovation on page 6, RSPCA on page 11, and we stopped looking after that. There have been many studies around Google search results reporting that only 6% of people will scroll to the second page. So why aren't our country's national sheep bodies front and centre in the search results, and how can we change that? We might not be advertising on how to start sheep farming, but these national bodies are our representation of the industry that provides accurate resources for sheep producers. And this is the type of information we want young Googlers to see who we are and have reliable information about a legitimate and rewarding industry to work in. Any Google search about sheep should have our national bodies appear, same as on social media platforms.
These are other suggested questions popping up on Google search. One commonality here, finances and how hard and or time consuming it is to be a sheep farmer. These are relevant concerns. Challenging knowing where to start, especially if you're not already involved in agriculture. So this is how outsiders are getting their first bit of information about sheep farming. Reality is there are many challenges for young sheep producers. Young sheep producers need to build their team, which involves lenders, advisors, mentors, markets, employees, or just someone to help out when needed. Some of those challenges can take a mental toll on farmers and be stressful. Also, another stress is transitioning from one generation to the next. It can be helpful to have an advisor to help with that transition, or even an advisor to help grow your operation. As you guys can see, there's a list of many different challenges up above in that slide there, but it's always helpful to have other people involved. Go ahead, Brittany.
What do young farmers look like today? It is increasingly common for the younger generation to pursue qualifications through agricultural diplomas or degrees through university. I also see great value in working on another farm. You can learn valuable skills and see how different producers are doing things. These experiences bring different skills back to the farm that the previous generation didn't readily pursue or have access to. It also means the next generation is likely to have a primary role outside of the farming enterprise that utilizes their qualifications until succession planning takes effect. Working off farm also allows for generating wealth that can be used personally or be reinvested back into the farm business. It can be difficult for multiple generations to rely solely on the income generated off the farm business. Young producers are utilizing technology to capture management data, identify areas of improvement, and measure progress over time. The next generation is more likely to adapt to newer technology and for changing their business. We utilize IED tags in our flock for record keeping and allow us to make important decisions such as culling and who to retain for replacement. We are able to benefit from advancements in sheep genetics that have been collected over time. This day and age, we have access to more data than ever before, and we have advantages to accelerate our breeding programs. Next slide. Future sheep production. The future of sheep production sits on two base core pillars: retaining passionate young people with existing ties to agriculture. We have a trend of people entering our industry currently that, well, not currently, it's kind of been going on for a long time here in Canada, where they get in when things are good, but then within 5 years, we might have a downturn in the industry and they're no longer with us. We have to break that trend for the long-term sustainability of our sector, in my opinion. Attracting new people from outside of agriculture is also critical. Within Canadian agriculture, the sheep industry holds the most potential for young people, in my opinion. Low startup costs and tremendous opportunities for growing our sector. We only currently supply around 38% of the land consumed here in Canada. I think there's a lot of room for us to grow our national flock. In both cases, it's crucial to facilitate the transfer of knowledge and experience to the next generation. Key focus areas that need to be addressed. Where can young people outside agriculture go to find reliable career information? Where do they even start? Providing young people a sense of purpose and being able to envision the future of the industry. Financial security, good incentives for producing sheep, meat, wool, and dairy products. These are the largest challenges, but unfortunately, a lot of this is out of our control. We can only focus on ways to best maximize our income on production efficiencies on farm. It is important to equip young people with the right skills to run a profitable and resilient farm business. Next slide. What do we love about sheep farming? Selling points to the next generation. There's a sense of pride associated with producing high quality animals that will go down the line to feed hungry people, and also wool. Dairy products are also a factor in the sheep industry. Here in Canada, we have dairy sheep farms, and they produce a lot of like cheeses and things of that nature. Role of producers to protect delicate ecosystems and improve the land on which we farm. The freedom of choice, the uniqueness and diversity within the sheep industry. We have several different breeds, several different marketing avenues, several different production methods: pasture lambing, annual lambing, total confinement, accelerated lambing, you name it. You can do a lot of different things within the sector and still have a good market for your lambs. For example, here in Canada, we have a very diverse population of people. We have Muslims that demand a very lean type of lamb, or on the other hand, we have Greeks that demand more of a new crop, 60-pound milk-fed type of lamb. Mutton is also a huge product here in Canada with the ethnic communities, and our call ewe market currently is fetching $300 to $400 per ewe. And like I said earlier, we have a much lower startup cost in comparison to a lot of other ag sectors here in Canada. For example, dairy or poultry are extremely high and hard for young folks to get started in. Sheep are well adapted to many different management systems and environments, i.e. rotational grazing, solar grazing, confinement, ability to repurpose other facilities, such as old hog barns, or chicken barns, or even tie-stall dairy barns. Sheep allow for excellent opportunity to also build relationships within your communities with other farmers that aren't necessarily within the sheep industry. For example, crop farmers, they might grow cover crops, and they might want you to graze, like might want something to go over and manage that residue and graze the cover crops. Or after the combine goes through, there might be crop residues you have the opportunity to graze. And along with, like I said earlier, there's some farmers out there that might have some empty barns and are looking to give a young person a chance and an opportunity to establish a business. And I think just a matter of finding the right people you can have on your team and people that want to see you be successful and work with them. Also, there's a great opportunity if you're raising a family. Your kids can work with young lambs. You don't have that same fear of working with cattle where people might get hurt. Like, lambs are generally fairly forgiving for young kids to work with and that nature. And sheep are also an excellent opportunity for the next generation coming home to a farm. Let's say the first generation maybe milks cows, second generation wants to come home, but there's not enough revenue for them to come home to, enough cash flow in the business. So possibly getting into sheep might produce more cash, like a different stream of cash flow, and allow them to successfully come home and farm. That's next slide.
Some current initiatives in the U.S. are direct government loans for young producers. Young producers here are defined as anyone involved in farming for 10 years or less. There are also government guaranteed bank loans. There are several different grants available for people to apply for. One current grant is the Carbon Smart Grant. This grant is focused on carbon sequestration and soil health and grazing. There's also EQIP assistance available to producers. This covers infrastructure such as water supply, fence, buildings, feed storage, and some cover crop grazing. There's a group called the Young Entrepreneurs Group. This is a group of young producers focusing on building the future of the American sheep industry. This group networks with each other and other producers to make the best decision on how to promote lamb and grow the sheep industry.
Current initiatives in Canada. Next Gen Canadian Lamb Producer Group is a group that I chair. We got started in 2021, and at that time it was only within the province of Ontario youth lamb producers at that time. 2023, we broke out to go national. We just felt as a board that we weren't engaging enough people in our group, and we felt that there was several people outside of Ontario that were working hard to be successful in the industry and just needed to have that mentorship base and have that educational aspect. So we have meetings over Zoom through the winter time, monthly, and yeah, we're fairly friendly folks. Anybody can call any of us up on the board, and we'd be happy to help you guys and mentor you through whatever challenges you might be facing. That's kind of the purpose of the group. Farm Credit Canada has a young farmers loan for producers under 40 as well. So that's to purchase land or other agricultural assets up to $2 million. Canadian Agricultural Loan Act, which is also CALA for short form, is up to $500,000, and it goes towards purchasing land or building or improving current farm buildings. We also have another program in place called the Resilient Agricultural Landscape Program. That is a cost share program, and it's currently open. It targets water retention, wetland protection, perennial pasture establishment, tree planting, and reduced tillage practices. The next one here is a program we have in Ontario. It's called the Risk Management Program, and it's a provincial program open to farmers in Ontario, and there's both provincial and federal money being invested in it. There's $250 million in it, and it covers sheep, veal, hogs, beef, grains, and oilseeds. And it's basically an insurance program. You pay a premium into it. It actually pays out every year. I would call it more of a subsidy. They call it an insurance program, but it pays out every year. And for the sheep side of it, I can't speak for the other commodities. It typically pays 5 to 6 times what I pay for premium. Farmer Wellness Initiative. The Farmer Wellness Initiative provides Ontario farmers, farm families, farm employees, and spouses and dependents of the farm employees with free unlimited mental health counseling specific to the unique challenges that can be experienced by the agricultural community. Next slide.
So you might need to give me a second, guys, because I've accidentally
Okay.
left something off the slide. 5 seconds. Sorry. Oops, we're done. Go. Cool, sorry about that. Thank you. Okay, so the current initiatives in Australia. So large companies such as Rabobank and Australian Wool Innovation have a key focus on graduate programs to consistently obtain an annual uptake of young people. Their appeal lies in showcasing. Am I showing the notes on this one? I'm sorry if I am.
No, you're not.
No, you're
It's
good.
not.
You're good.
Okay, crazy. Hopefully the slides still move. Okay. So the appeal of a grad program lies in showcasing the various roles in the company with paid on-the-job training, often providing access to experienced mentors. These programs are effective at retaining graduates as they gain different experiences and understand the various roles in the company, which provides a sense of purpose and belonging, and they can envision a future within the company that aligns with their goals and job satisfaction. Farming groups are important, connecting farmers in the community, teaching governance, industry collaboration, and advocacy for our industry. Since COVID, there's been an increase in regional and online workshops focusing on upskilling farmers. Consultants and research and extension groups are providing lots of training opportunities for farmers of all ages, which is a great avenue for young people to learn, network, and find more experienced mentors in your region. These courses include topics ranging from hands-on workshops for low-stress stock handling, animal health workshops, pasture species and grazing advice, ranging to business and finance skills. We're also seeing an increase in opportunities for producers to see different aspects of the supply chain beyond the farm gate, which provides deeper understanding of end product requirements and consumer demand, and also may instill confidence in the industry in seeing the investment people are making to promote sheep products. There is an increasing importance of transparency with consumers and sharing our story. Groups such as the Livestock Collective in Australia are brilliant at facilitating advocacy training for young people in ag. Here are a couple key examples that are focusing on different aspects of farming, such as Cultivate Farms, which is a program that matches retiring farmers with aspiring farmers. Farmers that don't necessarily have children or relatives that are interested in taking over the farm when they're ready to step down. Then there's the National Farmers Federation Young Farmers Council, which teaches governance, advocacy, and learning about policy making. And Ag Connect WA is a West Australian group run by under 35-year-olds that unites young people across livestock and grains to increase both social and professional development opportunities. Another up-and-coming one is Ag Career Start, that's been running for the last few years. It's aimed at 17 to 25-year-olds, which is promoted as a gap year that pairs farmers and applicants looking for farm work. It also provides additional training opportunities during employment on farm. It's reassuring to see that each of our countries are aware of the importance of attracting and retraining the next generation, and many initiatives are already in place to support young producers. It's all about raising awareness of the opportunities and pathways that exist, making them more accessible. Oops, now I didn't change slide. Well, there we go. Cool, clicked on the wrong ones. Cool, multiple sources report on the trend in young people holding multiple careers in their lifetime compared to previous generations. Let's utilise that tendency and encourage young people to pursue the vibrant variety of roles throughout the supply chain and increase retention throughout the sheep industry. Ultimately, we need sheep producers to continue farming sheep. But to ensure this continues long into the future, we need people working in different sectors along the supply chain to act in the best interest of sheep producers. People in policy, for example, protecting producers' rights, people in marketing and agribusiness to secure global markets and increase demand and drive profit from the consumer end. And researchers who take on the risk to trial new ideas so farmers don't have to, seeking new ways to increase production and profitability. These roles are equally as important in ensuring a strong, sustainable future in the sheep industry. We need to continue working with the current trend of young people in agriculture, and we also need succession at all stages of the supply chain. We need to work together, continuing to provide opportunities for the next generation. Everyone benefits when we focus on capacity building across the sheep industry sector as a whole. Gaining an understanding of the supply chain and working across various roles that all link together with a purpose, people can see a future and will stay in the sheep industry rather than feeling the urge to change industries altogether. This aligns with the opportunities and programs that are already accessible to young people today in our respective countries. Some parts of the supply chain are more effective at attracting new recruits than others, and major factors coming into play is income and opportunity for growth, which is something to consider when designing job roles and graduate programs for young people. Oops, it's not changing. There we go. Can you guys see the next slide?
I can't yet.
Yep.
You can?
Is that working?
Yep. Well, I can
There
see
you
it
go.
my end.
Perfect.
Cool.
Okay, perfect.
Oops,
Our proposition and suggestions. Work within our circle of control. Start small and maintain off-farm income. Learn as much as you can during that period. Surround yourself with people who are supportive of what you're doing. That the Global Sheep Producers Forum is a great example of a good support base to have behind you. Align yourself with people who you can call during tough times. Take a break off the farm. Even just a few days or 1 week in the summer is a great opportunity to get outside your business and just relax and leave the business at home and come back with a fresh mind and new ideas. Build your network readily and enthusiastically. Access your national, provincial sheep producer boards. They should have useful information or contact information to resources or other producers you can network with. Next Gen Sheep Producers Directory. Create a Word document and perhaps eventually a website with relevant grants, industry bodies, network groups applicable for young people in the sheep industry. A paragraph description from each resource to describe what they are and a website link. A central location for all sheep-related organizations. There may be individual promotion for each program or opportunity, but there isn't one place where they are all accessible. Some aren't well known either. Can be especially hard to find when you're just starting out and do not know where to look. Note, if this were to continue, require regular updating, who would govern this? The Sheep Advisory Council in each country? More opportunity platforms to connect producers across the world. Twitter, it's outdated and an open platform, open for activists or other negative input to be used on. What we need is to have an app. What we should have is an app open to just producers that we can go on and share knowledge with. This isn't a silver bullet, but it is a start. Online resources and social media are the first step for young people to look, and the easiest way to share and reach young people, future employees, and future consumers. It is important to share reliable and easy accessible information. Next slide.
We can confidently speak on behalf of all the participants of this program by extending our gratitude for this opportunity. Programs such as the Global Sheep Producers Forum shows that our industry is actually working towards a bright future, upskilling and uniting young producers across the world. There are great advantages in collaboration, and by building our understanding of global partners, challenges, and strengths from people on the ground rather than what we read about online. We can only be stronger together.
We are so grateful for the hospitality and openness of everyone we met on our tours, opening their homes and businesses to lay everything on the table for us to learn. This fills us with pride and confidence in our industry, in how willing everyone is to help each other and showcase the management of their enterprises. Collaboration helps us see the possibilities and provides a network that we can lean on for advice and motivation. That is exactly what young producers need. We need to be able to see a future in sheep production and build a support network, which is exactly what this program delivers. We have built friendships across the world because of this unique program, so thank you so much for investing in us and uniting us. We hope to see this program continue long into the future and continue to grow the networks of young producers to help us work together to build a stronger, sustainable future for sheep production worldwide. And thank you everyone for joining us for our presentation.